Of course,
Rhino.
you got to do.
Yeah,
You're doing the. You got to do the
Class
rhino.
it up.
Yeah. Whenever you're bringing your middle school child, is it playing? Okay, I don't know if it's one of those. I saw you reach for it. There it is. Oh, where? Oh, that's the song. From
fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Pod Therapy. Real people, real questions, and real therapists.
There it is. You can enter your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email me at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now, broadcasting from the churn, that guy's Jacob the Life Coach.
Hey.
I'm Dr. Jim Jobin. It's time for some pod therapy. So if you're wondering how to do Vegas right, if you're thinking, how do you wine and dine a sixth grader?
It's a Vegas heavy Patreon section tonight.
Well, we got deep into the local weeds. We even lay out for you which hotels you want to go to.
Well, you had a Vegas night this week.
That was a Vegas. I think you could classify what I did as a full Vegas night.
Yeah.
That was a good Vegas outing. Everything on the strip.
Well, as much of a Vegas night as you're having with your 12-year-old son.
That's about it. You know, so, classy, fun time, great food, great show. Saw Piff the Magic Dragon. If you'd like to hear about the whole experience, of course you can during the pre-show hangout, patreon.com/therapy.
That's right.
That's how you find out what's going on. Now, long-term listeners of the show will notice that a different voice opened the show tonight.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy.
What is that old accent called? Like the transatlantic accent or
whatever? It's just Nick Tangeman.
Well, Nick Tangeman, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
We haven't really announced it in public.
Yep.
Nick
Land
tragically.
sharks.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Tragically. And nobody saw that coming.
No.
They
should have. I mean, they made that whole
Where's
Sharknado movie.
Right?
We should have looked at that and said, boy, this could happen.
Well, I saw it as a documentary.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel that was going to happen again.
You didn't feel like it was repeatable.
No. Freak accident.
Sure.
Sure. Tornado filled with alive sharks, hungry enough to murder you, with the keen eye and sensibility and reflexes to ply their craft midair.
In a tornado.
I don't feel many could.
No.
But this is where people often underestimate the lethality of shark.
That's right.
It's quite high.
Yep.
Did you know that shark was not their original name?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
So the original name for that animal was dogfish.
Okay.
Pirates called him dogfish.
Okay.
And most of history.
I think I have heard that, actually.
Yep. So loan sharks are not named after the animal. The animal is named after the person.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
All right.
Now, I saw this on TikTok, which I consider an authority.
I've heard the term dogfish before.
Yeah. I think there's a beer called Dogfish.
I believe there is.
So apparently, loan shark and like the aggressive, go get your money nature, that started like bleeding over into the animal and saying, the animal just aggressive, unstopped, like a shark, these things. They just come after you like a shark. And it became a verb at some point.
It's like trampoline.
It is.
You know the thing about trampoline, right?
That's not that. What?
It doesn't have anything to do with shark, but it was for years and years. It was called a jumpaline.
No.
And then your mom jumped on me.
Oh shit! I walked right into it.
Stay down.
Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't even see it. Damn it, Jacob.
She batted right over to it.
Oh, but this guy, he don't miss. All right. So anyway, rest in peace to my former cohort.
Oh, and of course, if you are a longtime listener, you know the thing to do at this point is to tweet, get on. There's a Reddit. What's the thing? What's
Discord?
A Discord. There's a Pod Therapy Discord. There's a Pod Therapy on Twitter. There's Pod Therapy on Facebook. Get on all the things.
Instagram.
And talk about how this episode
specifically
is the best episode of Pod Therapy you've ever heard.
And tragically, make sure that you put hashtag rest in peace, Nick.
Right.
Okay. R.I.P. Nick.
R.I.P. Nick.
And just, lots of sincerity. Just being like, gone too soon.
Yeah. I mean, his family's going to read this.
Yes. Make sure that you put, and I'm going to be retweeting all of it.
If anyone would like to eulogize Nick Tangeman, feel free.
Gone but not forgotten.
Yeah.
Gone but not forgotten.
I feel like a Twitter eulogy of Nick is appropriate.
Yes, I think that's appropriate.
Yes.
And, I think we should start, kind of a charity in his name.
Feel free.
To prevent the next Sharknado.
Yeah.
I feel Sharknado awearness, really.
Sharknado awareness.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So R.I.P. Tangeman, or R.I.P. Nick. Gone but not forgotten.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, he will be.
yeah. What was what was his last name? I don't even.
You did just say it.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Boy, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about?
Nah, I don't
Fuck
know.
that guy.
Yeah.
We've got questions, and you know what? He's missing out on all the good ones.
All right.
Jacob, because it's me and you this week.
Here we go.
And we got all the best questions. I saved them. See, I've been harvesting the best questions for when Nick wouldn't be
That's
here.
right.
Because I didn't want to fuck them all up.
Yeah.
You know? Because if I give him the good ones, you know what Nick's gonna do.
Yeah.
He's gonna Midwestern that thing.
Go
he's
get
gonna
a
he's gonna hem
therapist.
and haw with his Midwestern Iowan politeness.
Yeah.
So I waited until he died.
Yeah.
Tragically by the Sharknado.
Right.
Then I knew this is when you open up the good cask, and this is when you pour that.
That's
out,
right.
Because this is the good stuff. First question, we still haven't figured out how we're supposed to do the trivia.
Oh, no. We're just not going to do trivia
I
today.
just don't think there will be any
No.
trivia. I didn't plan any of this. Maybe if I come up with a name that tune.
Let me see. While you're reading,
yeah,
I'll just
yeah,
see if I can find like
name that tune
a
app.
trivia thing.
Yeah, that'll be fine. All right. First question. Oh my God. You're going to love this. Jacob.
All right.
My best friend slept with my crush right next to me. By Anonymous. Real quick disclaimer. Some people have asked me,
Best friend slept with
are these real questions? All of the questions
Every
on
one
Pod
of them.
Therapy, 100% has been written by
Well,
a real person.
Here's the,
and
as far
submitted.
as we know,
Yes.
they are all 100. Like somebody
That's
could
right. They
make
could
up.
be making it up.
Somebody else could make it up.
This
as
is
far
still,
as we know,
it's
they're
always
all
real.
legit.
Always real. My best friend slept with my crush right next to me. Hey guys, first off, just want to say I love the show. I started listening when the pandemic started, and I've been hooked ever since. It's a great source of comfort and entertainment for me, and I look forward to it every week. P.S. I know this is insanely long. Please feel free to summarize.
All right.
Nope. Recently, I've been going out for drinks with my best friend a lot, and there's this girl he's been really into. We can call her Emily. I've been really into this other girl. We'll call her Kate.
Okay.
Who's in the same circle as me, my friend, and Emily.
So
The
you're
other
into
day-
Kate.
You're into Kate, Buddy's into Emily.
Okay.
Got it. The other day, me and my friend went to the bar, and Emily and Kate happened to be there, and I was really hitting it off with Kate. We were having a great conversation, and we even talked about hanging out together soon.
All right.
Getting septum piercings, LOL, and playing music together. Needless to say, I was pretty excited about this. But then, as it got later, my friend came up to me and told me that Emily and Kate told him they were interested in having sex with both of us tonight. But like, as a group. Okay, I've never done anything like that, and wasn't even that interested. But I felt like I didn't want to miss the chance to get closer with Kate.
All right.
Plus, I wanted to seem like I'm down for anything.
So Emily comes to the writer.
Yep. No. Emily goes to Ryder's friend, says, hey, me and my girl Kate, we want to hook up with you boys tonight.
Okay.
But we're thinking, let's make it a group.
So nobody has talked to writer about this at all.
Ryder's
at this
friend
point.
now came up and
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
here's the thing, buddy.
Okay.
We're go time.
Here's what's going down.
It's time for you to tag in as a team.
Yeah.
We're tag teaming this. We're going to do it as a team.
Yeah.
So Ryder says, I want to get closer with Kate. Plus, I wanted to seem like I'm down for anything, which we know clearly I am not. Anyway, we go to my friend's house, and we're all mostly naked on his bed.
Okay.
Long story short, I start kissing Kate, and he starts kissing Emily.
Great.
But then my friend says, why don't you guys flip around? My heart instantly sank.
Wait,
as
who
I-
said this?
Friend says this. Friend says, why don't you guys flip around? My heart instantly sank as I realized my friend was about to make out with Kate, and I was about to have to try and make out with Emily,
Okay.
who I'm not romantically interested in.
Okay.
Pretty soon, I just stopped trying to make any advances on Emily because, one, I love her as a friend, and two, I'm sitting here watching my best friend make out with my crush. Then me and Emily are just laying there, chilling, trying to crack jokes at the movie we had on. Meanwhile, my friend and my crush are literally full on having sex right next to us. My friend's hand is nearly grazing my arm as he does this, which made it all the more visceral. Then eventually, they got a room and I just laid there listening to them across the house until I finally drove home. The next day, Kate texted me and apologized profusely and claimed she was too drunk to remember anything that happened, and she never would have done any of that if she was sober. I quite frankly do not believe anyone in that room was actually drunk, so I'm sure she's just trying to be nice and make me feel better while giving herself an excuse. Anyway, I still have feelings for her, and I hated my best friend for doing that because he knew that I was into her, and I figured since he was into the other girl, Emily, we'd both just stick to our respective crushes.
Right.
I responded to Kate's text saying it was hard for me to watch what happened because I've been really into her, and she responded and said she's been really into me too, which was exciting to hear.
Oh, that's nice.
That is good news, which was exciting to hear, but I feel like this nightmare of an experience has tainted any possibility of me starting a relationship with Kate. I don't know what to think or what to do, guys. Part of me wants to draw the line and just cut her off romantically, almost more out of self-respect than anything, and part of me still wants to try with her because now I know she likes me too and seemed to regret what happened. Maybe I shouldn't place so much importance on sex and experiences like this. I have no idea. I feel like there's so much more I could get into with you guys and give context on who I am and how I feel, but this submission is already massive, so I'd just love to hear your thoughts. If you've made it this far, thank you guys so much. Respectfully, Anonymous. Woo! That is quite a tale, isn't it, Jacob?
I gotta tell you,
Lots going on that one.
this only seems like good stuff to me.
Okay.
If I am in your shoes at this, Anonymous,
Yeah.
and I have been in similar shoes to this.
Mostly your best friend's shoes.
No, actually, I can think of a time that that I had a buddy absolutely sleep with a girl that he knew that I was into.
Okay. Yeah.
And we are actually, all of us are still friends today.
Okay.
I think, is my humble advice, Anonymous.
Yeah.
And that is, you go to Kate. I mean, you've already spilled the beans on how you feel on this.
She knows
which
you
I think
like
is
her.
fine. She knows you like her, and she knows that you weren't happy about that night.
Right. And she also implicitly apologizing to that
Absolutely.
implies, hey, look, I didn't
And whether
want
she
that to go
realized,
down.
whether she remembers everything from that night or not, whether she was
Right.
super drunk that night or not,
Yeah.
who cares?
She's trying to tell you she values you.
Yeah. Who cares how drunk anyone was?
Sure.
It's fine.
Fine. That's all subjective.
Yeah.
Whatever.
There was some degree of
She's trying to create plausible deniability.
yeah. She's trying to throw herself a little bone here.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Notice that I got through that sentence without
No
making
pun.
a bone joke.
No pun.
I didn't make a single bone joke in that entire
Nobel
sentence.
Prize
Thank you.
nominee.
Thank you.
I saw what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put this cape on myself.
Yeah, you should.
Yes.
No, let me do it in a ceremony. The wind blowing through your hair is miraculous.
So here's the deal. You're into somebody.
Mm-hmm.
They're into you.
Right.
You know this.
Yes.
All of the guesswork that usually goes on in that part,
Is done.
you don't have to deal with it.
Okay.
You know that she's into you. She knows that you're into her.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also, how many potential sexual partners? I don't know how old you are, Anonymous.
Yeah.
And they don't
They didn't give
us
any
a hint.
clues. Yeah.
How many potential sexual partners in your life, before now and going forward,
Yeah.
are going to be chaste, white, habit-wearing virgins?
Right.
Everyone has a sexual past.
They're going to have a history.
You just happen to be in the room for part of her sexual past.
Okay.
That's how I'm looking at this.
You're looking at it like, look, you saw some of the resume in person.
That's it.
At the end of the day, everything after that is what counts.
Yeah.
There is likability here.
The only issue that I think I would have going out of this at all is maybe,
Yeah.
and I'm really unsure about this, maybe you have a chat with your buddy.
That says, hey, man, I
That
feel like
wasn't
you
cool.
knew where I stood.
Yeah.
But then Buddy says, I clearly sold this to you
Yeah.
as a team effort.
That's why I say maybe.
I suggested the switcheroo.
I'm also fine
You
if
had
you want to
veto power. You did not exercise such
I am
power.
absolutely fine.
Okay.
If you want to spend the rest of your life
Yeah.
never bringing this night up to these three people again,
Boy, you think you could?
outside of maybe being like, hey, remember when we did that?
That was
was crazy.
Yeah. High five anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want for dinner?
Yeah. That was wonderful. Anyway, Father, please continue with the christening.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, you're up next for communion. Go ahead.
That's kind of where I'm at with this.
Okay.
I don't think you have to have that conversation with the buddy.
Yeah.
If you really feel like you do,
Yeah.
then maybe cross that bridge. But I would only do that if you really feel like you need to have that conversation with your buddy.
This is so subjective. And,
Yeah.
and here's what I mean. So, like,
I know that my sexual,
Right,
my
your
sexuality,
tolerance.
all of that stuff is
Yeah.
different than other people's.
so and this is something that comes up a lot where people say, oh, do you think that we could be like an open relationship? Or, oh, do you think that we could be swingers? And oftentimes what I tell people when they ask me that in therapy is I
Yeah.
say, look, if you have to ask, then you may not already be there. Like a lot
Right.
of these people are pretty comfortable. Like
Yeah.
they know that their tolerances are pretty high.
Yep.
And they don't have to deeply wonder what it would be like. They're pretty much fine with it. Like
Yeah.
they kind of know. And some people are exploring and
Some
they learn
people,
as
and
they
some
go.
people are not.
And then they're not.
And it sounds like Anonymous is probably not there.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about. So, like, I look at this and go, all right, this guy, he says, oh, that wasn't what I really wanted to sign up for. I really liked this girl.
Yep.
I was using this group experience to A, seem cool, because she seems into it, so I don't want to seem like I'm
Which I think
not.
Anonymous already knows that was probably a dumb move.
Probably not. Well, but I get why Anonymous did
And
it.
I don't mean dumb.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be mean, but
Right.
Anonymous, it doesn't
Regrettable.
Sound, it doesn't sound like you were into
Not
it
happy with
even
it.
while it was happening.
Yeah, probably not your jam.
Yeah.
Probably we're hoping for something better or different. But like going with it because it's like, hey, I really like Kate. Kate's saying yes to this. I would like this. If it's gonna happen, you can choose to be on the bus.
Yep.
Or you can choose to watch it go by. Well, you have those two options. You picked get on the bus.
I mean, here's a room
Yeah.
where I know the person that I have a crush on
Is gonna be
is
hooking
gonna
up.
be naked
Yeah.
and is gonna have
I'd like to be
sexual
in that
contact
room.
with people.
Yeah.
I
I'm
would like to
invited.
be the person having sexual contact with my naked
So
crush.
I understand why Anonymous went for it because I feel like given those options, that's probably your best one if your goal is to get with Kate.
Yeah.
And you're pursuing this, and it feels like it's organic. We have some good chemistry. We're flirting at the bar. Feels like we're going in the right direction. Great. But where this went to now in the aftermath, I look at Anonymous's situation and I go, boy, and this doesn't sound like you relate to this at all, Jacob, but there's certainly a lot of people that would almost be, and I'm using a lowercase t trauma on this, but a little traumatized by that.
Sure.
Could be hard for them to be like, oh, geez, can I have a really good connection with you later when I'm flashing back to what was for me a very painful
Yes.
first sexual experience with you?
I should be more clear about that because the relationship that I alluded to earlier,
Right.
girl that we had not dated at all at that point. We later dated.
Mm-hmm.
That was not, that it wasn't a deal breaker for me.
Okay.
But it was not something that
You
I
weren't
was
in pain about it either.
No, I was in pain about it.
Okay,
At
bothered
the time, I was in pain about
Yeah,
that.
definitely bothered.
Yeah. No, I shouldn't. I didn't do a good job of explaining that fully earlier.
Yeah, not completely didn't care.
No. I definitely cared.
Okay.
Sorry, I jumped to, oh shit, we're all still friends.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
I jumped several steps.
I got
there.
the impression it was like, no big deal. High five.
No. It was a big deal at the time.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. No, I did a piss poor job there of making that clear.
It's fine. I'll clean it up in post.
Thank you.
You can trust me.
Yeah. This whole conversation definitely won't be in the show. So, I mean, my point though was that I think that this is for me it was something where time heals.
Right.
After not a very long time, I was past it.
Okay.
And especially with her.
Yeah.
Now with him, it took a little bit longer to get past it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
But
you mean your relationship with him?
My relationship with my buddy took a
Yeah.
little bit longer.
Yeah.
But that healed as well.
Okay.
But then my relationship with her, we developed into a romantic relationship and everything else. And
yeah.
just,
So I think that adjacent to that is Anonymous' situation where I think a lot of that's relatable. And he had to be present, right? And like witness it and like feel emotional for a long time.
Yeah.
Like feeling like, oh, geez, this is happening. I'm powerless to stop it. That's got to stick to you. So when Anonymous says, look, now that I'm at this phase, I don't know what to do. Anonymous, I have a couple of pieces of advice to this. One, we're just not going to know if this ends up being like a lower, again, I'm using that word trauma as lowercase. Please understand there's a difference between diagnosed trauma and like traumatic things that stick to us. I think this potentially could be traumatic to where later on, whenever you try to have an honest to goodness relationship with Kate, this could be in your head. And this could mess with you. And it could interfere in bedroom time. It could interfere with you feeling safe in the relationship. It could interfere with you feeling like the four of you and the larger group of you can continue to be friends when you start to bond to Kate. Because then you're going to be like, geez, you know, she was certainly having a good time with my friend. And like, I know they have chemistry. And like, do I feel? So there's certainly a lot more complexity now than there was previously.
Yeah.
So I totally expect that is going to be enough that you're like, gosh, I don't know if I could do this. But I think I come down on the side of you won't know if you don't try. And if you already like the girl and she's communicating to you, A, I like you back. B, I'm trying to create a narrative of plausible deniability to communicate to you that was kind of just fun, goof off, we're all being wild time. I care about you. I like you. And I want to create a path where you can like me back and there's a room for us here without this thing being the issue.
Yeah.
So she's trying, and I think you're depriving yourself of the opportunity if you're not at least willing to give that a try for yourself. Because look, I'm reading your words, Anonymous.
Yeah.
You seem to authentically like this person. And I don't know that goes away just because of this experience. I would want you to at least inch your way into this. Now, if you take a couple steps toward the relationship and you find, man, I'm having flashbacks to this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, I just authentically don't feel good. And now I'm scared to develop deeper feelings toward this person because I'm scared of the complexity. Okay, now we're suffering a lot on first stage relationship, which honestly is supposed to be a high point.
Right.
And if you're already going through that much of a grind emotionally, then I start to defer to your other option that you recognize in the letter. It's okay to say, all right, you know what? This is costing me more than it's benefiting me. There's now emotional entanglement. I'm hurting. And that's when I would just get back to Kate and say, look, the way that this all started, I think we better keep it casual and friendly. I don't know that I can do. I like you at real relationship level. And I think that now we have a shared history that maybe makes that not great for me. And you're allowed to have that. I don't think that makes you closed-minded. I don't think that makes you, a bad person. I think if that's authentically the pain point for you and it doesn't work, you're allowed to step back. But last thought on this, man, I don't want you to just burn that bridge.
No.
I want you to have permission to explore it and see what organically comes from that.
You happen to be in the room for part of her sexual experience, for part of her sexual past.
Yeah.
I'd really try to look at it that way. If you have to,
I
dig
know I
into
would
it at
struggle.
all.
If it was me in that, I would be where Anonymous is.
Fair.
I would be like, what has happened? Like, I'd probably be crying while it was happening.
Right.
So I know I'm not that guy. I
Fair.
couldn't handle that. So I know for me, if I was trying to date the person afterward, I'd be like, I'm kind of broken now.
Right.
Like, this bridge feels burned to me. Growing up with my buddies in high school and college, if one of them had hooked up with a girl, that girl was now dead to me romantically.
Really? Okay.
That was not possible.
Okay.
Period. Partly because I felt deep loyalty to friends, and I felt like I would never allow you to feel hurt by me pursuing this person.
Yeah.
And partly because that person got friend zoned very deep for me.
All right.
That it was like, nope, she's my buddy's ex in one way or another, even if it was just a fling, dead forever. That bridge is nuked to the earth. It's ash. That person is no longer an option. Now, that's just Jim.
Yeah.
But it sounds like that's not how it worked in your
That
world.
wasn't me.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Yeah. So you walk up to her a couple minutes after she last spoke to your buddy. You say, hey, listen, I've thought about you a lot. Maybe we get together. She says, Jacob, you're the best man at the wedding. I really feel like he's coming back. He just went over there to get me a drink.
He went to the bathroom.
Yeah, it's been like a solid 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, how long are we going to wait here? 15 minutes, 15 years. You tell me what the difference is.
Have I ever told the story about the first time I ever sat and talked to SJ?
No. Is this at a wedding?
No, but it was at a party where her then boyfriend was at too.
Oh no, really?
Yep.
Okay, I got to hear this story.
And so I was like, oh hey, and it was a party where I knew everybody there. He did not.
Okay.
He was from SJ and I met in college.
Okay. Yeah.
And he did not go to our college.
Okay.
So he was visiting. He was in college somewhere else. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I also couldn't tell you his name right now.
Fair enough.
Which I didn't date him.
Not super relevant.
Nope.
Yeah.
And so we were at this party. We're hanging out. I introduced myself as, and SJ introduces me to him. Oh, this is one of my friends, Jacob.
I believe his name was Adrian Peterson.
I believe that was it.
Yeah, I believe, down at LSU. Yeah, I believe
That's right.
his name was Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson went to Texas University, but that's not important.
Shame on me.
Yep.
Close enough. He could have reasonably been at LSU parties.
That's fine. Yep.
Yeah.
And so I said, oh, hey, I brought a case of beer. There's a case of beer in that other room over there. Why don't you go help yourself?
You said, "Oh, you
I was
used
like,
bait."
I was like,
"Oh, you
leave
scoundrel,
the room, motherfucker!"
You scoundrel!
And I plopped down.
You swooped in.
Absolutely.
Oh, you stole his girlfriend.
Not that night.
Oh boy, you were planting
But
the seeds.
the
though.
seed was planted.
Yep, you were working the long game.
Yep.
You scoundrel, man.
Yep.
Just a home wrecker.
That's it.
Well, you know what? There you go. So, Anonymous, I encourage you, don't run away from this right away. It doesn't seem authentically to be your truth, but reserve the right to walk away once you explore this road. And if it's painful with every step, be honest about it.
If you can't do it, you'll know that.
She's a grown up, you're a grown up,
Yeah.
and you can tell her, "Hey, Kate, boy, I liked you a lot. I still do. You're a great person. I have so much respect for you. I just think I can't get past
And
this."
if the two of
and
you
that's
aren't
okay.
grown ups because you didn't tell us your ages,
They can drink at a bar.
well, I mean, if
I
you're-
assume legally.
if you're not grown up,
If it's in Louisiana, they're
then,
14 for all I know.
Everybody just stop what you're doing
Stop
right now.
what you're doing right now. Get the garden hose,
Stop
Jacob. Get these goddamn kids off our lawn. Stop it right now. All right,
out.
we're going to take a quick break. God knows what's going to happen without
got
adult
stuff.
supervision. You thank God.
I've got stuff.
Nick's been dead for minutes, and we have no rules anymore. This show is careening off the road.
Oh, hey, Laura, how you doing?
You're listening to Pod Therapy. Welcome to the funeral of the late Nick Tangeman.
Today's Pod Therapy is brought to you by all of those theropods
People.
out there.
All those people.
Everybody who goes over to PodTherapyGuys.
Nope.
Patreon.com/PodTherapy.
Nope.
Nope.
Patreon.com/therapy.
I know what
Their
things are.
producers, thank you for sponsoring the show.
Nick has the lists of all the names, so we
Not
don't
a
have those
clue.
names. But thank you. If you've signed up recently, keep an eye
You're
on the
great.
Twitter. Pod Therapy Guys over at Twitter. You get thanked immediately right over there.
There it is.
All right.
Good
I
job.
have some trivia questions here.
Okay.
And,
way to pull through,
and I was
Jacob.
able to Google trivia questions with hidden answers.
Oh, well done.
So we have the question, and then I'll click on this button down
Look
here.
at you, man.
And that'll give us the answer.
I also want to point out how easy it was to replace Nick.
Man,
We
just like,
did it on the fly.
Yeah.
You did that in the time it took to start the jingle and get to now.
So what do we think? We think
God, he was easy to let go
3
of.
questions per round?
That sounds fine.
Let's do 3
that
questions
sounds
around.
great.
So here's the first of the 3 questions for this round.
Yes.
Jim, in the 1999 horror movie Lake Placid,
Oh, God. I slept
what
through this one.
type of animal terrorized the residents of Black Lake, Maine? It's not multiple choice.
Okay, so we just got to throw it out there.
You just got to guess an animal.
All right.
My guess is going to be anteater.
You're going with Andrew? Okay, yeah. Thank you.
The rabid anteater.
Nature's nemesis.
I mean, in fairness, if the residents
The shark
of
of
Black
the
Lake,
Serengeti.
Maine,
Yeah.
well, if we're talking about ants,
That's fair.
a terror.
That would be terrifying. I saw this movie that, speaking of ex-girlfriends and old lives, I remember being like on a date. And it was one of those things where it's like, this was back before Netflix and chill. There was no Netflix. So it was like you went to Blockbuster and you rented something.
Sure.
And I remember it was like we rented Lake Placid and, this was one of those things you watch it at home kind of thing. No clue what happens in this.
Right.
I feel like Keanu Reeves is in this movie.
Really?
Or that might be called Lake House. Looking back, I believe it was a rom-com called Lake House.
I believe you're thinking of The Lake House.
I'm going with animal that
is
terrorizes
Keanu
people.
Reeves your final answer?
Final answer, it's Keanu Reeves, as or maybe adjacent to Neo.
Yeah.
I believe it was an alligator, Jacob. I'm going alligator.
You're going alligator. That's kind of what I was thinking as well. I'm trying to think it was an alligator or a crocodile.
And for the record, I will agree those are two different animals.
Okay.
You gonna go with crocodile, or it's gonna be some cray thing?
Or we're
What's
both
the
just
third,
wrong.
What's the third type? There's like a caiman.
Oh,
A caiman.
Yeah, yeah.
Go with caiman.
With the super. No, they have the super skinny snout.
Yeah, just
it wasn't,
do it.
It wasn't
Just
one
do
of those.
it. They're only like 3
I'll
feet
go
long.
crocodile.
No, go caiman. Just
It's
balls
not,
out.
It's not a caiman. When it's a caiman, it's going to be hilarious.
You know.
All right, you're going alligator. I'll go crocodile to keep
All
it
right.
interesting.
I feel like that's a good answer.
Crocodile.
Oh, bing, 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 bing.
Oh,
1
look
point.
at that. All right.
Oh, man.
Question number 2. Which American architect designed the Guggenheim Museum in New York?
I'm going with Dr. Guggenheim.
Mr. Guggenheim.
Oh, you know what? I want to change my answer.
Yeah.
I'm going with Mr. Guggenheim. Professor Guggenheim,
Yeah.
I believe. I'm going with John Guggenheim.
All right. I'll go with Frank Lloyd Wright. I'll go with an architect.
Oh, I thought he was a composer of songs.
Let's try it. It's Frank Lloyd Wright.
Holy balls.
I'm going to go ahead and go
You
with an architect.
With a real architect. I thought that guy was a song composer for Broadway.
You're thinking of Andrew Lloyd Webber. Same middle name.
I am.
Yep.
And you know what? I got more of that than you probably thought I would get. 30% of that.
But you got
I was aware of.
Yeah.
And letters.
You got it as right as I would have
was
expected.
letters.
You know it's 3 names.
Yeah.
All right, last
I
question.
love South Pacific.
What is the largest muscle in the human body?
Let me tell you.
Not when I'm fucking you.
Yeah. Oh, Nick, God rest your soul. This is where this show has become without you.
Yep.
I'm going
Largest muscle.
muscle.
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
Oh, well, I'll go first.
You know who would get this? The late Nick Tangent.
The late Nick Tangeman.
He would have gotten it.
Yeah.
He knows all the
If he
muscles.
were on time,
He'd
he'd
be like,
be here right now.
oh, it's this one. It's connected to the deltoid. And then he'd rip his shirt off and show you and be like, see, the way you get this one is
Yeah.
you got to spin backwards and hold the weight a 45-degree angle to the north.
Can I say like the thigh muscle?
Okay, I want that one too. So we're going to have to show down on who can get closest to the name of this thing. I'm going
I
with
can't get the name. I don't know the name.
femur.
I think that's a bone.
I'm going with it.
All right.
I feel good. I feel good about femur. And
and
I hope Nick is rolling in his grave.
yeah, I believe femur is a bone.
Knowing he knows the answer.
Yeah.
And could be screaming it.
I'm going to stick with thigh muscle.
You're probably closer than femur. I'm going with
Oh, we're both wrong.
femur-toid
The
pectoral.
gluteus maximus.
Your ass?
Yeah.
Wow.
And let me just look it up
Solid.
here. Femur is definitely a bone.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, science, for giving us that. Thank you, Theraproducers. Today's trivia was an honor.
Thank
of
you so much.
Whoever you people are.
Yeah.
Thank you for throwing money into this hellhole.
Just think.
And just
the
setting
money
it on
that
fire.
you put out there,
Did this.
that's what paid for that trivia right there.
And Nick's funeral. We've
That's true.
budgeted a significant portion
Yes.
of some of the Patreon money
Uh-huh.
to Nick's funeral.
That's
Yeah.
right.
The rest will be for the paid vacation for Laura,
Mhm.
who is going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sending her to sunny San Diego.
Right. We didn't have enough money to pay for her entire vacation.
No, not even close.
So the rest
Yeah.
of the rest of that vacation money, instead of burning books, she's actually selling them.
Oh, that's nice. See,
Yeah.
that's how you move it.
That
There's
is.
no money in ashes.
No.
Unless you're in the frozen north, then you're getting some
Right.
heat out of those things, and you probably pay something for that. I'm
Yeah.
sure. So some fuel. Thank you, Theraproducers. If you'd like to sponsor the show and make this show possible,
And why wouldn't you?
Patreon.com/therapy. Next question: is becoming a therapist worth it?
Nope.
From Sam.
Be a life coach.
Boy, this is the day that you should ask that question. Hi, Jim, Nick, and Jacob. Oh, geez, Jacob.
So close.
So close. Yeah. Former.
Salt in the wound.
Salt, just too soon.
Yeah.
God, I really should have edited these things. It just hurts me. I've been a fan of the podcast since your Reddit post in 2020.
Wow.
Damn, back in the day. The podcast has been very informative on all things therapy. Has it though, Sam? Has it?
Not until today.
Yeah, it used to be.
Femur is the thigh bone. That is the longest and strongest bone in your body.
We were kind of right.
Yeah.
You know what? Since we're keeping our own golf score on this one, I'm giving it to us.
Take
I'm
a
taking
point.
a stroke off on this one. That one's real.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't think we got... Wait, was it... Is it the thigh? Did I say it was
You
the thigh?
said
Oh,
thigh
yeah,
bone.
thigh bone. Yeah.
It's called thigh bone?
It's just... Well, no, it's called the femur.
Oh, well, I said femur, but I said
Yes.
that was the muscle.
Right.
We're both getting a stroke on this one. You know what? We made par. I'm giving par back.
You know what? I'll take my 2 points. You go ahead and take a point for femur.
That's fair.
You
and
named
you know what?
You named something in the thigh.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. And you know what? We were under duress. I don't think we were in any condition to putt.
We're not in our right mind.
Yeah, that's right. We should be getting something for this. The podcast has been great, informative of all things therapy. I recently watched Jim's Instagram video titled "The Scandal of the Mental Health Profession,"
Okay.
which was very eye-opening. As someone who's going into a
I also watched that video.
Did you really?
No.
Okay. I was about to say, what? Do you even know what our Instagram is?
Nope.
There's no way you watch that thing. It was 45 minutes.
Absolutely not.
There's 0% chance. As someone who's going into a social work master's program in the fall to ultimately pursue a career in becoming a psychotherapist, the points Jim made in the video made me quite overwhelmed and anxious about the profession or lack thereof. Of course, I was aware of a therapist as not being a lucrative job, but the prospect of practicing therapy with potential for crippling debt, poor pay, and lack of support all made the future I've planned look quite bleak.
Don't forget zero respect from anyone who knows you.
That's very important. Yeah, you don't want to leave that behind, Sam. I'm sure this will be a difficult thing to answer, as there is no right answer, but is it time for me to swallow the pill and back out of pursuing this profession before it's too late? Are all the setbacks and poor structure in place in the U.S. really worth the struggle to become a therapist? Again, I understand this is not a simple question and has no right answer, but I would love to listen to all your opinions about this as current professionals in the field. Thank you in advance. The podcast has been so helpful in so many ways. Sincerely, Sam. And bonus points on this one, I will even channel Nick's ghost and answer it how I know he would answer.
Good.
I'm fully capable.
How before you do, how far into it did you say Sam was?
Sam said he's about to start a program. He has not started, but
so
in the
Sam
fall,
has Sam has a regular degree then. Sam has a bachelor's
Must
degree.
already have a bachelor's.
We're assuming.
Yep. And
is
is
ready to
thinking
go
about
into
doing a
some kind of
master's.
graduate program.
Yep, is about to pursue that.
Okay.
So, all right, so first thing, quick disclaimer, I wrote Sam back the minute I got this email.
Great.
I don't do that with a lot of these. In fact, I don't even see a lot of them until the show. This one was emailed in and I happened to see it, and I thought, oh, I don't want this poor soul sitting around in anxiety for however long it takes me to get to this. So I wrote him back and said,
that is Jim channeling himself into you, Sam.
Yes, 100%.
Because if Jim sent off
I
that
would have been
email,
terrified.
he would be refreshing his inbox
Waiting for the reply.
every 2 minutes
Easily.
until the reply came.
Yeah, I don't even close my phone after I send texts. I just stare at the thread until somebody replies to me. So, and I don't even have an iPhone. I don't even know if they can see it. I'm just scared, waiting to know. So no, I didn't
You don't
want
even
this
get the little
guy.
dots.
Yeah, I didn't want this guy waiting around wondering what to do with his life.
Okay.
And especially based on me, because I'm the guy that broke it, right?
Right.
I broke it, figured I had a responsibility to fix it.
Okay.
So I did write him back and gave him the skinny. So real quick recap. Once upon a time, I made an Instagram video when I was doing this. I think it was like in the fall or whatever. I was just had more time on my hands, so I was filling it by doing deep dives. And I did one called The Scandal of the Mental Health Profession.
Okay.
Jacob, here was the whole point.
Good.
I said, professions get called professions because the professionals who do them exclusively, and it's a polished trade. You get good at your trade. It's a discipline.
Okay.
And so to become a professional at something, for it to be a true profession, it must be a skilled trade, and you must have been able to do it for that old adage of like 10,000 hours to the point where you are considered a master of your trade, and therefore it's now a profession.
Yeah.
So that was my clutch. That was my argument. My hook, my theme, my thesis was, hey, professions tend to have that in common. So then I said, here's what will blow your mind about therapy and mental health generally. A significant percentage of those who are licensed to practice do not do it full time.
Okay.
That is the beginning of the scandal. So the scandal was, the big punchline was, you probably think of this as a profession, but if that word means 10,000 hours of experience, actually not a lot of people in my trade have the 10,000 hours of experience.
Okay.
That's not extremely common. Does it happen? Yes. Do I have it? Yes. Does Nick have it? Yes. Do the majority of people in our profession have it? I would say it's going to be 50-50. I would say probably not. And you say, Jim, how's that possible? The second thing is, for something to be a profession, people have to be doing it full time. You're a full-time audio guy. Therefore, there's a profession that is a discipline. You do it, and that's your living. You do that job. Might do other things too, but you are a full-time professional at your craft. That's what you do. It's a profession. An optometrist does optometry. You aren't expecting to look into optometry and discover like 50% or more of optometrists can only do optometry part-time, and then they sell houses on the side, teach yoga, or do some kind of other thing to make money, like drive Uber. You wouldn't expect that. If you heard that, you'd be like, oh, that's chilling, because when I go see this guy, I want to know that this is what he does. When I go see a surgeon, I want to know that he's just doing surgery. That's his whole job. He's done it a lot. He does it all the time. When he's not doing it, he's preparing to do it. And whenever he's preparing to do it, he's going to go do it. He's a full-time surgeon. I don't want to think that the guy who's doing my colonoscopy has to get this done real quick because he's got to go show a house at 12 o'clock so he can pay his bills. I really hope that all he does is GI. But in this one particular area of healthcare, it is actually quite common that therapists, A, do not do it full-time, and B, have not even had the opportunity a lot of times to get to 10,000 hours of experience.
I disagree with that premise a little bit.
Go for it.
I know people. I work in entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I know people in entertainment. I can think of one close friend of mine off the top of my head that is she's a singer in Las Vegas, and then during the day she sells houses.
Okay. So, but this goes back to what you think of a profession of singer. We don't think of it as a sturdy,
No, but here's
expert level.
Here's the thing. I think of her as a professional singer, and I think of her as a professional real estate agent.
But you mean that as in she gets paid gigs. But the
No,
nature
no,
of
I mean that I think that she is good and a professional at both of those things.
All right.
I think of her as someone who...
But if she was delivering healthcare to you, it would probably be problematic to you, or at least a surprise, to discover that a healthcare discipline is so poorly financed that the people who went to school to do it can't afford to do it.
Yes.
That they have to sell houses.
That would be...
And then they moonlight as a therapist.
That would be a shock to me.
It would be shocking.
Yes.
That's why I called it the scandal. I called it the scandal of this profession.
Scandal, I think, is a good word.
Good word for it. It's
I think
scandalous.
that's a fine word.
You hear that and go, holy smokes.
Yeah.
I think of therapists and I think sturdy profession.
Mm-hmm.
You go to school, you go do a master's. It takes 3 years to do a master's. Then you have 3 more years of training. Then you go take national examinations. And then you're finally 6 years later, 7 years later, a professional. And you're telling me that the situation is so broken that it's very hard to do that full
time. The 10,000 hour thing I always take a little bit of umbrage with as well.
Yeah, I get it. So, I didn't lay heavily into that because, you're doing it anyway. You can accumulate 10,000. But my point is, a lot of people don't stay in the profession. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this, and I outline this all in my talk, which is on the Patreon. Go patreon.com/therapy. Type in deep dive into the search. You'll find a whole bunch of stuff that I've put in there. You don't have to go to the Instagram. Or you go to the Instagram, you just go to our videos, and you can find one where I talk about it. And I explain this happens for many reasons.
Yeah.
It's not just mental health care is broken. That is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, there's a lot of pieces. The mental health system and the healthcare system were partitioned into 2 different categories for a very long time. Insurances weren't even required to pay for health or mental health for a very long time. Then when they wrote the rules and said, you've got to pay for this, they immediately started underfunding it because they didn't want to pay for it. And then when they wrote new rules that said, okay, we caught you, you have to pay this for what it is, for its real value, you have to have parity. They also realized it's cheaper to violate the law because there are no punishments than it is to pay these people. So they just kept not doing it. So mental health care just doesn't get financed. All these reasons and more are why people not rarely, but it's not extremely common that people do it full time.
Yes.
So a lot of people that are fully licensed, went through all that work, sell houses on the side, teach yoga on the side, teach at universities on the side, teach other classes on the side, are selling products like workbooks or courses or trying to do CEUs. They're just doing side hustles a lot.
Right.
And so it's rare that you find a purist like me who I do therapy for a living.
Mm-hmm.
I do one thing. And everybody would agree I'm bad at everything else. Poor Jim doesn't even know which states go where on the damn map because he does so much therapy in life, he don't have time to learn the American map. Jacob, that's the story. I'm sticking to it, all right? Reason I don't know geography is because I'm so good at therapy. I do one thing. I have a very peculiar set of skills. So that was my scandal talk. Now,
peculiar is the right word.
There you go. Specific is probably what I was looking for. So this
I believe
talk
you were trying to say particular.
Has scared the hell out of Sam and scared the hell out of a lot of other aspiring therapists.
Yeah.
When I went to Scoop Fest, there was a wonderful couple that was there. I did karaoke with the husband.
Okay.
And the wife is studying to be a therapist right now.
Interesting.
And they both came up and said, we love the show. She is studying to become a therapist. And she said, I listened to your talk and I'm terrified now. Thanks for ruining this for me. And I gave her the same talk I'm about to give to you, Sam, which is this. You can absolutely succeed as a therapist and you can live a good lifestyle and pay your bills and be very comfortable as long as you do several things. One, you've got to come in knowing that this is not going to be easy street. So you better pick a smart one.
Be independently wealthy.
Yeah. Number 1, have a trust fund that your parents in Big Tobacco have handed off to you.
Have that.
You have that ready to go, Sam. You don't want to blow it. So you can survive, but A, you've got to come in economically. Don't just pick the biggest ticket university to go to. You better be smart, be thinking about how you're going to afford your master's as you get in. 2, pick a master's. Don't do a doctorate. Doctorates are dumb. You will cash out way more debt. Don't do that. If you're going to do it much later. Do it as a capstone. Do it as a terminal degree later. I don't recommend just randomly going and get a doctorate in marriage and family therapy or social work as your path toward clinical work. Don't do that. Get a master's. make sure it's economical. Come in with a plan to work. During your internship, find places that you want to work. During your student internship, find places that you want to work. Figure out your industry. Figure out where you're going to work. Get into it, find jobs, and work them hard. You can do well. You can work for the government and do fine. You could open up your practice and do fine. There are ways to survive. But it's not like other healthcare disciplines where all you have to do is get the work done and then the money's waiting for you.
Right.
If you want to be a medical doctor, you get the work done and you graduate, people are waiting to hire you on day one. They're going to afford you a very healthy salary. It will pay your bills and you will be happy. And then you could always go up from there, but you will never want for money. That is not true in mental health. You have got to be shrewd and know the industry. It will not be handed to you. You better figure it out, and you better get out there and work really hard and be really good at it. And if you come at it hungry like you want to be good at this, you can do very well, but you're going to have to earn it. Nobody's going to hand it to you.
I think something that I say to people when they ask me a question similar to this is applicable here.
Okay.
I've worked in entertainment my entire life. I don't know how to do, you talk about Jim having a particular set of skills. I know how to do very little that I did not learn through the entertainment world. Through the entertainment
You learned it doing it.
Yes. So even things like building things and things like that, I learned how to do things like that working in scene shops. I learned how to I can do some electrical work. I learned how to do that working on lighting rigs for theaters or doing all that kind of stuff. I have a weird set of skills, and it all stems from doing entertainment work.
Yeah.
Over my career, over my life, I have had people, I do talks at universities. I do occasionally for high school students, but that's usually a little young for me to be
especially
asked to
since
deal
they
with.
put that law in. You got
Right,
be 100
the 50 feet thing. Yeah,
God,
that's tough.
crushing.
But-
Especially because you love Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah,
you know,
I do.
Pizza solid.
I mean, look at those. So many tickets.
I know.
I didn't have a good Chuck E. Cheese pull there. I thought, I was like, oh, what's a good Chuck E. Cheese joke I can make?
Yeah, there's
I've been to
tickets.
a Chuck E. Cheese once in my life.
Charles Cheeses.
Yep. So people have asked me, and your college students, family members, friends. I have a niece right now that is interested in pursuing a career in entertainment.
Okay.
And my off-the-cuff answer to everyone who asks me, should I pursue a career in entertainment, is no.
No,
No, don't do that.
don't do that.
Now, then there's a deeper answer to that, and that's the answer that I'll give you, Sam. And that is, working in this field, like working in therapy, it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Most people who work in entertainment, I'll just talk about performers.
Sure.
Most people who consider themselves to be performers at any given time are unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
Actors Equity, which is the union that represents stage performers, and then you have SAG, which is the Screen Actors Guild, which deals with television and movie actors. At any given time, it's something like 80 to 85% of those union members are unemployed.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It's a ridiculous number. If you really cannot picture yourself doing something else, then that might be a good career for you.
I see. But you got to come in with your eyes wide open.
You better know exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And so to that point, I would ask Jim, is there a like an internship program? Is there something like that Sam could get into before throwing all this time and money at a program like this, that also might give him a little bit of real world experience that is like,
right.
Can you start to figure out, maybe go into it with the eyes a little wider open?
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about that.
So, all right, here's what I did. All right, so I did it. I succeeded at this. And the truth is, if you pile up 100 people that are all graduating and then you stack our lives all against each other, I ended up in the top 5% of people that can afford to do it, live very comfortably, work for themselves, and have a crushing podcast.
And buy yourself a tomahawk steak daily.
Yeah, daily. Yeah. Just patreon.com/therapy. Learn how good Jim eats and find out what that's all like. So here's how I did it. I was, I had a family. And so I was a teacher. I started doing my master's while I was teaching.
Okay.
Already that was rare because traditional students, they're just going to college and they're still not financing their lives yet.
Yeah.
They're not paying for their own school. They're just going to master's now.
Sure.
And so I was going against peers. I was a little bit older than them. This was my second career. I worked every day of my master's, paid my bills, got through my master's. Then I had to start doing student internship. When I got to student internship, I knew when this thing's over and I have a degree on the wall, it's gangbusters. I need to get out there. I need to get into this career.
Yeah.
This has to be worth it for me. I have to justify this master's and years of effort that
There's
I put
a
in here.
waterfall coming. I better start paddling the other direction.
I got debt coming like a mother.
Yeah.
So I better get ready. So when I hit my student internship, Nevada required 1 year. Buddy, I ran for mayor of mental health during that year. I called every place that I thought could give me a job later, and I showed up and I said, I'm going to bust my ass. I'm going to show you that I want to be the best there is at this. I'm going to study everything you have to throw at me. I'm going to be the best student you've ever had. I'm going to learn. And you know what? I only needed to be at one clinic. I was at 4.
Yeah.
I only needed to be at 1. I satisfy my student internship just by showing up and being at a clinic for a year. I was at 4. I worked 7 days a week. And I was also working weekends as a associate therapist in the field working with adolescents.
Okay.
I worked everywhere while being a teacher full time, so that when that internship was over, the day I nailed a degree to the wall, I called all of them and I said, I'm officially available for hire. I'm a licensed intern. I'm ready to go. Every one of them offered me a job.
Great.
Said, we've spent a year with you. You've worked for free for us for a year. We like you. We've been waiting for this day. We're taking you and we're treating you right. And I was like, hell yeah. So I got a decent job, immediately started making more money than I did as a teacher. I was making no money as a teacher. So immediately
You were a
I
teacher. We did that math
validated
already.
it was a bad idea to be a teacher. So I validated this first step. Okay, now here
My
we go.
entire immediate family are teachers.
It's a tough life. My spouse, it's a tough life.
Yep.
So
both my parents and my brother. My parents are retired now.
God
but
bless
they were teachers. My brother's a
Tough
teacher.
life.
Yep.
tough life, hard road to hoe. And I think teachers would also say, don't do it unless you have a plan. Do it the right way. So the 3 years that I was an intern in 2 different licenses, that was another thing. I didn't just come in and pick 1 license. I interned for 2 licenses, which means I had to do double the hours, double the money, double the supervision, double the national exams, double the board interviews. I had to do everything twice. And I did that because I knew I better have an addictions background too, because that will broaden my employability.
Sure.
That way I can work anywhere now. I could work at hospitals, I could work at rehabs, I could work at outpatient. I told myself I need to unlock every door there is in this profession because I cannot afford to fail. I have a family, I have debt, I gotta make it work. But that was a hungry mentality, even as a student. Then for the 3 years that I'm an intern, I am working my ass off. I'm working at rehabs, I'm getting 2 different licenses, and I'm running a private practice in the background, and I'm serving anywhere 7 days a week, 2 jobs, and a private practice for 3 years. And then finished that. I had made a name for myself in the addictions industry. I had made a name for myself in my private practice. I conferred 2 different licenses, the best ones I could get in the state. And then I was finally at a place where I was being invited to the executive leadership level. We're like, look at this guy. And I think it helped that I was a little bit older than a lot of my peers. They saw how hungry I was working hard. I'd made a good name for myself. Then I was being promoted to like chief operating officer of rehabs and hospitals. So now I was making good money. I was paying off my bills. I had also earned my doctorate during that time too. That was another thing, in which I don't recommend, Sam. But I went and did that because for me, I knew the path that I wanted to have. So I was like, let's get more debt. So I went and did that. When that was all over, I was making
Jim hates
decent
not
money.
having bills.
Gotta have some debt. I was working at rehabs. Nick and I worked at rehabs. I hired Nick, brought him on board, made him my clinical director because I had so much respect for him and,
And
worked for him
student loans
elsewhere.
isn't even a good kind of debt to have.
Oh,
It doesn't
it's
really help your
terrible.
credit.
No, it's just
Like, it just hurts you.
just an anchor around your throat. So I made money in it, Sam. You can do it. But how did I do it? And then I left rehabs. I got into private practice. By then, my name was good enough that I was able to survive and make a living, which also... Jacob, we have to have a deep heart-to-heart because I need you to not run against me for Best of Las Vegas.
Oh, no, that's
Because you
happening.
will beat me.
That's happening.
And it turns out my livelihood it values having these awards. They actually do matter a lot.
I'm happy for you to be
We
silver.
got to talk about this,
I'm
man.
happy for you to be silver.
There's a bribe. There's a bribe somewhere that we can make this
You
work.
could be the associates in Audio Guy Life Coaching and Associates.
I might have to settle for that because we got to find a way because this is my entire livelihood. So, Sam, it can be done. And I do fine. I live comfortably. My bills are paid. My family's well taken care of, and I still work very hard. And a lot of therapists, their average week is about 15 to 20 hours. And again, they can pay some of their bills. They choose to do that, or that's the best they can do. They can only fill up about that much, and then maybe they can't do anymore, or they, for whatever reason, that's the deal. I routinely fill up 30 to 60 hours a week. I do that because I work my ass off. I want to be available for people. I willingly work that much, and I make it possible for people to get to me. And because of all the hard work I've done, I'm able to sustain that, but I treat it like a freaking job, a job I want to be really good at, a job I'm always training for, preparing for, or doing more of, and that has flowed out. And that's why Pod Therapy exists, and that's why I'm able to contribute to that. And if we're being honest, even though I'm winning these awards because Pod Therapy listeners and Ice Cream Social listeners are voting for me, they're voting for me as Jim, a therapist that they know. So for them, I am the best therapist that they have in Las Vegas. So that counts for something. But so now Sam, you can definitely succeed, but you have to be willing to work.
The question I asked initially that led into all of that was: can he do any of that
a training
before
program.
getting into
And this
school?
is something I've thought a lot about. I really want to create a fellowship. Mm-hmm. So in healthcare, we don't have this in therapy. We don't use the phrase fellowship. But in healthcare, you join fellowships. When you finish medical school and you're trying to train for a discipline, you get into an ophthalmology fellowship. And now they teach you how to become an ophthalmologist, but they also network you and get you into the career. In therapy land, we don't do that very well. You have to be supervised, but you don't get into a program where we really teach you how to do the profession and teach you how to win. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Like, I would like to open a fellowship where I could supervise new therapists and not just teach them how to be a good therapist, but teach them how to get into the career and make it a real profession for themselves. Okay. Do it full time, be good at it, and really succeed. But no, that doesn't exist. But the best advice I would have for you, Sam, and this is what I told you in the email, and to anybody out there who wants to be a therapist, can you do this well? Yes. Can it be financially rewarding? Yes. You have to be willing to work hard. You have to make this your bread and butter. You have to want to be great at this, and you have to lean in on it, and you have to not half-ass it. You have to really come at it hard to get really, really good at it. And if you are, and you work very hard, and you say yes to opportunity, and you get out there and network, and do a lot more than just sit in the chair and do the job, you have to really get out there and hustle. But yes, if you open up all the doors and unlock all the powers of your licenses and be willing to learn how to do everything, yeah, you can do very well.
So if you think there's something else, if you think there's another career out there that you would be happy doing, maybe look into that a little bit.
Give all options consideration, but this is a sturdy profession.
If you think this is the profession this is the profession that you'll be happy doing,
do it.
Then dive in.
And I don't want to make people scared to
but
think,
go in with your eyes open.
It. It's like being an actor or something like that. No, it's not in that. Being an actor is obviously a long shot. This is a sturdy profession, but you have to, as you're training to do it, you need to learn more than just how to be a therapist. Other healthcare professions, you can just go ahead and learn your profession and get into the job and people will start paying you. Here, you have to learn more than just how to do that. You really have to learn where to work, how to have a career in it, and a lot of that comes from networking and hustle.
Yeah.
And if you have those, you'll be fine.
This is why, I'll tell you exactly, this is a funny insight into how my mind works.
Okay.
Because I look at every career out there, therapist included, and think, that's easy.
Yeah.
You go to school, you learn how to be a therapist, and you be a therapist.
That thing, yeah.
And there's the hustle that goes along with it and everything else. And I just think, yeah, that's easy. And you want to know why?
Why?
Because in my 40 or so years of being in entertainment, virtually everyone that I have ever worked with in the past, not counting the people that I work with right now, but virtually everyone, the vast majority of people that I have worked with throughout my life are not in the entertainment industry anymore.
Oh, wow.
Because you get into that industry, you do it for a little while, and then you're out.
Oh, wow.
And so I look at any other profession that's just, to me, a normal profession, and go like, well, yeah, it's not working in entertainment.
Right.
Like, yeah, you can do that for your whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing this for my whole life, and I am the outlier.
Right.
Anyone who makes a living doing what I do is this weird outlier. And so I'm just like, oh yeah, if you want to be a therapist, Sam, be a fucking therapist.
Right, because you think about it like, hey, anything is more possible than this.
Yeah, you're gonna hustle. It's not gonna be easy. It's not just a check in the mail each week for doing nothing.
But it's possible.
But it's doable.
Yes.
So yeah, if you think that's what you want to do, man, go do it.
Yes, it absolutely is. Be intelligent about your education. Don't go out and take, premium liquor, education, because you're going to pay that bill back and that will be a noose around your neck. It really needs to be sustainable. There's much reform needed in mental health care. It is currently happening in a chip away kind of way.
And you can help with that.
Just come in with a strategy. As long as you come in with a strategy, you will be fine. Even if your strategy is, I'm going to go work for the state.
Cool.
Fine. That is sustainable. Right size your life and your expenses around it, which I've always believed, and my father's always taught me, that is the key to happiness, is live within your means.
Absolutely.
And you just got to live within your means. You're not going to be, up on Cherry Hill with all the surgeons and doctors. You won't even honestly be up in living with all the nurses. The nurses honestly start at double the amount of money that therapists do. But you can earn a good living at it. You can make it sustainable, and you can end up feeling like you're doing financially well, but that will not be handed to you.
Yeah.
In other professions, you could just show up and
you
do
can
your
have some
job
work to do.
well compensated. In this career, that will not happen. You have got to know where the money is. Go be worthy of it. And if you're in the top percentages of your career, you'll be very comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be fine. So hang in there and don't give up.
Yeah.
We are going to bring the show to a crash conclusion here because we're way over time. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah,
anymore.
we are.
Yeah, we should probably do something. We don't have Nick here to moderate
Nick
any of this.
keeps us on time.
Yeah, Nick keeps things going. So we're going to bring it to a conclusion. I was screwing up all the trivia and the Patreons anyway. So as we end this with an homage to the late Nick Tangeman, I'd just like to say a few words about him.
Go ahead.
But none come to mind. He's so forgettable, so milquetoast. I don't remember much. Nick Tangeman was an American. Nick Tangeman was an Iowan. You can be Nick Tangeman too. If you eat your Wheaties, go to the gym 7 days a week, nay, 8 days a week, twice a day, 3 times on Sunday. Make sure that you tip your waiters and waitresses, come to a complete stop at all stop signs, and carve things out of wood with your bare hands. No knives.
Fingernails.
Just fingernails. You too can be Nick Tangeman. Nick was a good man. Nick was a man.
Nick was a passable human being.
Nick was. Thanks, Nick, for founding the show with me.
If Nick taught me anything,
Yeah.
it was when you're having brake trouble,
Yes.
get your brakes worked on.
Maybe get those checked.
Yeah.
Nick taught us a lot of things. Like,
Mostly brake related.
definitely find the water shutoff valve.
Know where that water shutoff valve is.
Gotta know
everybody.
those kinds of things. That was an important one.
Yep.
We learned a lot from Nick Tangeman.
That's it.
Rest in peace, sweet prince. Thank you for all of you've given us. Patreon.com/therapy to all the rest of you. And hey, if you've started sponsoring the show at any level, my bad, Nick keeps track of that shit.
We don't have the list.
I have no idea. This isn't even being recorded in the past.
Who knows?
That is how unstructured this show is without Nick. So if any of you were wondering, like, what are the delegation of responsibilities on the show? Jim's job, show up.
Yep.
Nick's job, run the show.
I record the show.
Nick scripts the show, manages the show,
Yep.
prepares the show, and keeps the show on time.
That's the entire delegate. And Jim talks.
Jim's just here in a cage, just randomly.
Other shows that I do
ideas.
a lot more than this.
You manage
On this
those
show,
shows.
I talk and I hit record.
That's pretty much it. And that's
And Nick does everything else.
welcome to the show. Patreon.com/therapy to all of you who make the show possible. We want to thank you. I do have a list of the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club. And this list is probably outdated because I know several people have
Almost
signed up.
certainly.
Definitely old. Thank you, Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Kayla Lansbury, Judy Schneider, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, King of Student Loan Debt, Dr. Ben Don, Crazy Banana Scoop, Mason Miller, Carolyn Albert, Leon Kassab, Kevin Chamberlain, Malia, Richard Macy, Cindy Ash, Newstick, Lord Colin Stewart, Dirty B, Ben Stanley, Sammy Scoop, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Byler T, University Jeff, Polygon, BP, Mike Helm, and I know that Tess Miller recently signed up.
Very
also,
nice.
wait a minute, as I'm looking through our Twitter, there was a new theropod, Angela She showed up in here. Lee Popsicle became a theropod at
Great.
$6.90 so that he could get the 69
Nice.
in there. Well played. Timothy D was a new Therapal as I scroll through. Oh, Lori Eltsroth became a Therodactyl.
Wonderful.
Thank you for that. And I remember Tess Miller became a producer, and that was just 10 hours ago. So, Karen M became a Theraproducer. Wow, I'm glad I caught that. Thank you. Wait, no, Karen M, I don't know what you are. You're probably a theropod because I used my Raptor GIF, but then I wrote Theraproducer. Whatever. Thank you for your contribution. God, this show is a train wreck without Tangeman. That's all the time that we've got. Cue the music. That's all the time we got for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords, the Ice Cream Social Podcast, and thanks to those of you who contributed to the show today. Boy, I appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something you should keep to yourself. Share the episode. Someone who needs it. We put a link in there. Use that. And don't forget, you can find us at facebook.com/podtherapy, on Twitter at PodTherapyGuys, on Instagram at PodTherapyGuys, and at patreon.com/therapy. Would you like to submit a question to the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Jim Jobin.
And I'm Nick Tangeman.
He's Nick Tangeman, and also Jacob, the audio guy. Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week, where Nick from the past will arrive, because next week's episode is pre-recorded, because Nick's still out of town. Or dead. Sorry, he's dead. Dead as a doornail. The man is gone forever. We're better off without him.
Is Nick going to record when we record next week?
Nick, no. So, well, yes. You and me, yes. But the people are going to hear a pre-recorded episode.